About 12 years ago, I found out my ex-wife had an affair with her boss, which led me to get a divorce with her. I got royally screwed over in the process, while she took the house, primary custody of the kids, and married her boss. I was essentially homeless and stayed with my parents for a while to get back on my feet. I had a part-time job along with my full-time job in order to make some money, so I could get my own place. However, this led to me spending less and less time with my kids. My kids were pretty okay with it at the beginning, but as time went on, I missed more of their special events, birthday, baseball games, cheerleading events, and I could only afford to send a text or call them. When my life finally started to rebuild, I tried to spend more time with my kids to make up for what I had missed out, but they weren't interested. When they came over, they would complain that the TV didn't have the channels they liked, or when I got them gifts, they would throw them away and say that stepdad gave them a Nintendo DS or whatever. It hurt me really bad because I tried to give them what I could afford between child support payments and rent, utilities. My eldest turned 15. I gave her a used laptop that was in pretty good condition. However, when I presented it to her, she told me that she already has one, and to not even give her gifts if I can't get her the newest version. Another thing was when my son was having a baseball game, and I asked him if he wanted me to bring him anything while I attended. And he just looked at me and told me I shouldn't come, because I would embarrass him in front of his school friends. He goes to a school for rich kids. Hearing those cruel words from my kids were one of the only times I have cried in my adult life. They rarely came to visit me, and when they did, they would complain that they wanted to go back home, compare me to their stepfather, or would lock themselves in their room. They eventually stopped inviting me to their milestone celebrations like their graduation or Sweet 16 because I didn't fit the party aesthetic. While it hurt, I told them that I loved them and to reach out to me if they needed something. I still had hope that they would see how much I loved them and be kind to me, but my hopes were shattered when my sister asked me what I would be wearing to my daughter's wedding. I checked my emails, mailbox, and every other point of contact for an invite. But I realized then and there that my oldest was getting married but didn't invite me to the wedding. My entire body felt numb, and that's when I realized that I was the only one who was holding on to my past, while everyone else moved on. I decided that I shouldn't be begging my kids to stay with me, and if they wanted their stepdad instead of me, so be it. I got myself out of there, lost the beer belly, found my lovely wife, and had a beautiful baby boy. I love my new life and family so much that I damn near forgot about the old one. My older sister came over and posted a picture of my son, 3 male, playing with her granddaughter, 2 female, with a caption of saying how cute and innocent kids are. My son added me to a group chat to ask me when I had gotten remarried and had a kid, and why they weren't invited. My daughter then told me that she wanted to re-establish a relationship with me and meet her half-brother, and maybe she could bring over her kid to play with mine. I told them I would think about it, and haven't responded since. I'm really torn over this. I really want to have a relationship with my kids, but I don't know if I can get past how they treated me in the past. They broke my heart and acted like nothing happened, but now they want to play family. I asked my wife her thoughts, and she doesn't want them to come back into my life, but will respect my decision if I choose to do it. What should I do? Any advice, thoughts on this situation? They remained friendly with your sister, their aunt, and invited her to the wedding. Your sister never backed you up and asked why they weren't inviting you. Man, this is heartbreaking. You need to show them this post because you've been so articulate with what you've said here. Or if you can sit down and explain what you went through, that would be ideal. This is also on the mother. She cheated and seems like she was actively okay with forming stepdad into new dad after the divorce. You don't know what happened or what was said behind closed doors about you. Maybe they were sold the wrong story about you. But I do feel at a married age, you should be old enough to know that your father deserves an invitation to your wedding. That was wrong. You definitely deserve answers for that. Please, if you're thinking of doing this, don't force yourself, or rush into this if you're not ready, or don't want to do this at all. You were still treated horribly no matter if they are kids. They can learn to wait if they truly love you. I hope you get the closure you need. Sister is 31, and I'm 28 female. We both live at home with our mom. I've always been the saver of the family, and everyone else is terrible with money, including my sister. She's the type to have the best of everything, but it's all on credit. 2 big holidays per year, nice car on finance, etc. I haven't been on holiday for 4 years, and I have a crappy 11-year-old card because I prefer to save as much as possible, because I want to eventually buy my own place with my boyfriend of 6 years, and don't want to waste money renting. Anyway, sister is the type to be a serial dater, but with this new guy, she's convinced they'll be married within 12 months, and he's also said the same. I kid you not, they've been on one date and only started talking on Christmas Day, but, whatever. So anyway, she sits the family down today, tells us about this guy, he's rich apparently, and then tells us to keep in mind that she will be married within the year. My first thought is, duck yes. We've had a tumultuous relationship and are currently in the civil stage, but I'd love if she moved out, because it does cause a lot of tension when we're not in a good place. Also, I am genuinely happy that she seems to have found someone nice. Not to mention, she may stop being a bee and making passive-aggressive jibes about my relationship if she's happily married. So she tells us about the big house they're going to buy and the small but nice wedding they're going to have. So I asked, knowing she only has a few grand in savings, if he will be paying for it all. She did say he was rich. And she says no, they'll go halves. And then she talks about how it's tradition that the bride's family pay, so she'd feel embarrassed not contributing. My next question is how she's going to pay. And she says she'll need £5,000 each from me, my mum, single parent, and my granddad. She also adds she won't be contributing anything herself, because what she saves from now to the wedding will go towards her getting veneers on her teeth. So my mum immediately says that's fine, she'll give her portion, and so will granddad, and I say nothing. So then my sister starts talking about wedding guests, and then leaves. I didn't know what to say. I have £5,000. She knows I have that, so I didn't know what to say. I know it's going to cause a huge argument if I say I'm not contributing, and I feel like it would 100% take the wedding. Like, if I say no, will I look back with regret in a few years and wish I'd just given in? I think if it was anyone else, I wouldn't care as much. In fact, if it was my younger sister, I would willingly contribute. But the reason why it's pissing me off so much is because I feel like most of the conflict I've had with my older sister is because she's very materialistic, and she always looks down on me and my boyfriend because we don't have the best of everything. So I don't feel like giving her my hard-earned savings to fund her materialistic crap. I know it sounds easy to say, but it gives me so much anxiety when we're fighting. She's vicious and also very sly, so we'll always say things to my mom to try to get her to gang up on me. Also, we're both WFH, so I just feel like I'll be stuck in this house for a year with conflict, and that makes me feel sick. Not to mention, I know she'd try to exclude me from wedding stuff to which would feel crappy. Does anyone have any ideas on how I can get off this? Or should I just give it and suck it up? Sorry if it wasn't typed properly, I'm just angry and feel really anxious about this whole thing. Plus, I'm not good with confrontation, and she is very confrontational. Edit. Sorry, I just wanted to add this to explain why I'm so anxious. Basically, last year my dog had very expensive surgery, and she said she had no money to contribute, even though he's the family dog. Long story short, I had to pay over $3,000 alone, and the next month, she got £800 hair extensions and designer sunglasses that would have easily covered her half. It caused a huge fight that continued for 3 months, and she made my life such a misery. That's why I'm so anxious. I literally cried daily during that time because she caused so much crap within the family and was brutal to me. This sounds like a scam more than anything. You don't owe her anything, and paying her likely won't keep the peace. Like a blackmailer, she can always come back for more. Don't give in. If she wants to marry him, she can learn how to save. You can contribute by offering to tell her how she can manage her finances, but don't give her a penny. Simply put, there is absolutely no existing tradition for a bride's sister to pay for anything. You have no reason to pay for it, and you are going to. End of discussion. When she tries to bring up other stuff, you simply restate that there is no logical reason for you to pay for her wedding. Could you ask her if she'll be contributing the same amount towards your wedding, when it happens? If she's banking on tradition, she needs to know that the tradition isn't going to change much over the next few years. Surely she'd be expected to be just as generous when your time rolls around. I told my sister this morning that I wasn't going to be contributing to the wedding. She asked why, and I said I had plans for myself with that money, and giving it to her would impact my future. Initially, she seemed okay with this, but then said it wasn't fair that everyone else got money from their parents for their wedding, and she didn't. I said, first of all, some parents do help, but that's parents, not siblings. I then said she knew from the start what my mom's financial situation was, and she knew she wanted an expensive wedding, so asked why she didn't bother saving or preparing for this. She didn't have a response to this. I also brought up her age and said she's 31 and barely has any savings, so she should be more responsible. It did become a bit of an argument at that point, but I was firm about not contributing. She seems to have cooled down, but I don't know if it will affect other things in the future. I don't know if she will exclude me from wedding preparations, but I've decided that I don't care. I think she probably will keep bringing it up, and will intentionally make things awkward in front of others, but if she does, I will bring up the fact that she expected me, the younger sister, to pay for her wedding. I think that should shut her up, since it's obviously not normal to expect this, and will probably embarrass her. My cousin has always wanted to be a model. When she was 21, she started her modeling career by booking some modeling gigs, boutiques where there were pictures of her wearing the products, things like that. Never went outside local. When she was 23, she got pregnant, had a kid, and she insists that no one will hire her because of this. My boyfriend is a photographer, and he asked me and a few friends to help him take some pictures for his coursework and to add to his portfolio. Boyfriend did ask cousin for help with the portfolio work originally, but when she found out it was unpaid, she said something about how she might be busy and never turned up with no explanation, before or after. A couple of the photos got put up in a gallery. The owner of a local shop saw the photos and asked boyfriend to do a professional shoot. It's not a chain, just a local clothing boutique on the high street. On the day of the shoot, boyfriend calls us. Half the models didn't show up, and the owner and marketing person asked if he knew anyone who was local and had done modeling before. He said that the people in his portfolio are local, and they looked through it again and said to call us. So me and a friend of his went over there. We were in and out in a couple hours, and they gave me and the friend what they were going to give the models who didn't show. So I've now been paid for modeling. I have no modeling aspirations whatsoever, and they said on the day of the shoot that they probably wouldn't use all the photos, so I just didn't bother telling anyone. Then the boutique put out their fall collection, and the pictures with it. I got an angry call from cousin, saying she'd seen the photos and she couldn't believe I'd do that to her. She said I knew modeling was her dream, that she'd had the dream taken away from her. And now I was rubbing it in her face by posing for the same boutique she had a couple years ago. I didn't even realize it was the same boutique, and said I only did it to help out boyfriend, and had no modeling-based aspirations career-wise. She said that that was even worse, as I didn't care as much about it as she did. Cousin said that I should have told boyfriend to call her instead. Boyfriend said he would have used cousin for a shoot, but she'd stood him up that other time, and the issue was people not turning up. If she'd have turned up to the portfolio shoot, then her picture would have been in there. She'd have proven herself reliable, and she'd have booked this paid job. I told her all of this over the phone. I assume after that she got the rest of the family involved, as I've had my brother message me saying it was a jerk move, and my mom ringing, saying that my aunt has just given her an earful down the phone, and I should apologize to cousin. The only people on my side are boyfriend and our friends. It's been a full day. I'm at my actual workplace where I earn a steady income and want to continue in this line of work. My phone, which I meant to be making work calls on, is blowing up with calls, texts from cousin, brother, mother, auntie, other cousins, other aunts, uncles, all saying some form of, "How could you do that to cousin?" I asked brother what he actually thinks I did, and he says that cousin said that I stole the job out from under her, and has told our whole family that I stole a paid modeling job meant for her, and essentially backstabbed her. Brother says he knows my version of events is the true one, but the rest of the family believes her over me, and it would be easier on everyone for me to just suck it up and say sorry. I have my whole family, including brother, telling me to apologize. I have no interest in apologizing for something that isn't my fault. If she was willing to take one photo for boyfriend months ago, then she would have got this job. And the only reason she bailed is that it was unpaid. I even offered to watch my nephew while she took the photos, so she wouldn't have to sort out childcare. This isn't the sort of thing I can just ignore or wait for it to blow over. Cousin will whine about this until her dying day. And while my grandparents love us all equally, if she gets to them before I do, then they will take her side. I need to spread the truth throughout my family in a way that doesn't make it seem like I'm the liar, or I'm only doing this to contradict cousin. I'd really appreciate some advice. Complain to everyone about how if she'd been willing to take photos for your boyfriend, you wouldn't have had to do this modeling job you didn't want to do. Your cousin thinks she's entitled to all modeling jobs everywhere. Some real mental health issues.